I was driving home late one night, exhausted and yearning for the comfort of my warm bed. The familiar route seemed mundane, so I decided to take a shortcut down an old winding road that few dared to traverse at this late hour. The night was pitch black, with only the feeble glow of my headlights piercing through the darkness. As I continued down the desolate road, my tired eyes strained to stay focused on the path ahead. That's when I saw it, an ethereal pair of glowing red eyes in the distance. They seemed to stare directly at me, penetrating my soul with an unsettling intensity. I instinctively slammed on the brakes, hoping to avoid hitting whatever creature lurked in the road. My heart raced in my chest as my car screeched to a halt. I peered through the windshield, expecting to see a black cat or some other animal. But to my bewilderment, there was nothing there. The road lay empty, swallowed by an eerie silence that hung in the air. The only evidence of the mysterious encounter were the fading echoes of my tires on the pavement. Shaken, I took a deep breath and tried to gather my thoughts. Maybe it was just fatigue playing tricks on my mind, I reassured myself. But as I resumed my journey, unease settled in the pit of my stomach. The road ahead seemed to stretch indefinitely, with no end in sight. The once familiar landmarks became distorted, as if mocking my attempts to find my way back. Doubt gnawed at my mind. Had I taken a wrong turn? Had I stumbled upon some inexplicable phenomenon? The night grew colder, and a sense of foreboding washed over me. I felt trapped, caught in an endless loop of uncertainty. With trembling hands, I decided to turn around, desperate to escape this nightmarish predicament. But no matter which road I took, every turn led me right back to where I started. The same trees, the same curves, the same inexplicable loop that defied all logic and reason. Panic seized me as I realized the gravity of my situation. Hours melded into an eternity as I continued to drive, my mind teetering on the edge of sanity. The once scenic road had transformed into a macabre prison, a maze of despair. Tears streamed down my face as desperation consumed me. I cried out, pleading for release from this torturous loop. And then, as if answering my plea, the first rays of dawn began to break through the darkness. The inky black night slowly gave way to a hazy gray dawn. The road ahead shimmered, distorted by an otherworldly energy. And suddenly, the road ended, an abrupt termination that led to a desolate, abandoned graveyard. My trembling hands gripped the steering wheel as I stepped out of the car, my eyes fixated on the faded tombstones that littered the graveyard. And then it hit me, a realization that froze my blood and turned my bones to ice. The names etched on the tombstones were all too familiar, for they bore my own name. A cold shiver ran down my spine as the pieces fell into place. I was standing on my own grave, trapped in a realm where the living and the dead converged. The haunted highway had claimed me as its unwilling prisoner, forever condemned to wander its ghostly stretch, reliving my own demise with each passing loop. I looked back at my car, the only semblance of reality in this surreal nightmare. With a heavy heart, I stepped back inside, knowing that escape was impossible. The engine roared to life, and as I drove on, I became a mere phantom in this forsaken realm, forever lost on the vanishing road. Story 2. I sat behind the wheel, gripping it tightly as I navigated the winding road that cut through a dense forest. It was late at night, and the darkness engulfed everything around me, save for the faint glow of my headlights piercing through the night. As I drove, a strange sensation crept over me, a feeling of being watched. I glanced in my rearview mirror, but there was nothing out of the ordinary, just the empty road disappearing into the darkness behind me. I shook off the unease, attributing it to fatigue and the eerie atmosphere. Minutes turned into hours as I continued along the desolate stretch of road. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out in twisted shapes, casting eerie shadows across the asphalt. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of something. A pair of headlights. My heart skipped a beat as I realized there was a car behind me, following my every turn. The headlights stayed the same distance away, as if mirroring my speed. Panic surged through my veins. Who was following me? And why? I decided to test my theory. I made a sudden turn onto a smaller, less traveled road. To my horror, the headlights followed, tracking my every move with an unyielding determination. Fear gripped me, and I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. I sped up, hoping to leave the mysterious pursuer behind, but the headlights maintained their distance, as if glued to my car. Sweat trickled down my forehead as my mind raced with possibilities. Was it a stalker, a deranged driver, or something far more sinister? The road stretched on, and with each passing mile my anxiety deepened. I felt trapped in a nightmare, unable to escape. The headlights remained a constant presence, unrelenting in their pursuit. I had to do something, find help, or at least find someone who could witness what was happening. As luck would have it, I spotted a gas station up ahead, its neon sign flickering in the distance like a beacon of hope. I pulled into the station, my heart pounding in my chest. I glanced back, expecting to see the headlights right behind me, but to my astonishment, they were gone. They had vanished into thin air. I stumbled out of my car, my legs shaky as I approached the gas station attendant. "Did you see the car behind me? The one with the headlights?" I asked breathlessly. The attendant's brow furrowed, and he replied, "I'm sorry, but there haven't been any cars on this road for hours. You're the only one here." My blood ran cold as his words sank in. It was impossible. The car had been there. The headlights had followed me relentlessly, but now there was no trace, as if it had all been a figment of my imagination. Trembling, I thanked the attendant and stepped back into my car, unsure of what had just transpired. As I continued my journey home, a lingering sense of unease remained. What had happened on that desolate road? Who or what had been following me with those vanishing headlights? To this day, I cannot explain the inexplicable, the supernatural encounter that still haunts my dreams. The vanishing headlights serve as a constant reminder that sometimes the mysteries of the night hold secrets we are not meant to comprehend.